Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to an MMA show. This week we are featuring Fight Night between Waterson and Angela Hill. It actually looks like a really decent card. The last few Fight Nights have obviously had a lot of opponents and fighters that, they're not really well known, but have been really good nonetheless. And I kind of like these cards because you kind of find out the up and comers. You kind of find out people you wouldn't really see that have come from CFA, come from LFA, come from Cage Warriors, come from wherever the establishments are that are under par of the UFC, even like Bellator, for instance. They're not as good. But you're going to see these fighters now come up. Even Dana White's Contender Series, most of the fighters are from this, or they have fought on that from a certain period and now had a call up. So, first fight on the card. First fight is between Billy Quarentillo and Kyle Nelson, the Monster Nelson. Now, I've got all their fact sheets up here just to help me out a little bit. Instantly I was like, okay, I know Quarentillo because of that insane fight he had, but he wasn't the reason the fight was insane, and it was against Spike Carlisle. If you guys remember, the ginger fella that absolutely went nuts and bulldozed and blitzed his way through 5 minutes. And Quarentillo is known for cardio. That's what he's got. That's what he's good for. And his corner was saying in the build-up, hey, if we get out this first round, it's all ours. But Spike never kind of let off, and Quarentillo actually had to do a lot of fighting back, and was so good at doing it. Really good fight as well. So he won by decision in that fight. Really good fight for Quarentillo. As I believe, sorry about if you hear all the clicking from the touchpad, but that was his second fight in the UFC. Yeah, it was his second fight in the UFC after winning against Kamala Kirk in the Contender Series. All finishes as well. He won the Contender Series by TKO, and he got a triangle choke against Jacob Kilburn in his UFC debut. He then obviously won by unanimous decision against Spike Carlisle, which was brilliant. So he's against Carl Nelson now. Carl Nelson has fought in the UFC a few times. He fought 3 times. He's on a 2-loss, 1-win skid, but he's just coming off a win against Polo Reyes, and it was by TKO as well. So he has finished in first round. Really good fight actually for him. Good for him to bounce back, because you never like to see someone go 0-3 in their UFC career. It's not a great situation to be in. Now, I can see this fight going similar way to the Spike Carlisle, not as in Carl Nelson's going to absolutely blitz him, but definitely Quarentillo's cardio is going to be in check. And I'm going to say that Quarentillo comes off of this with a decision win. I do think Carl Nelson's maybe a bit too tough to stop at this stage, because he's going to really be fighting for something. But he has been stopped in his 2 out of 3 fights. So you could argue maybe a submission victory for Quarentillo, as he has that in his locker. He's really good on the ground. He's good off his back, but he also has really slick jab and footwork movement. So I'm going to say Quarentillo by this, but I'm going to say decision. I don't think Carl Nelson's going to be finished. If he is, I would not be surprised if you see Carl Nelson kind of lose his UFC contract and be cut from the UFC, as harsh as that sounds. But I can't see that. The second fight in the main card is between Ed Herman and Mike Rodriguez. Now, Mike Rodriguez fought a couple weeks ago against Marcin Prachino, where he got that single tie clinch, smashes with an elbow. As soon as he grabbed the back of the head, we all knew it was over. He's just got such power, and he really looked good in that. Granted, it was only like 2 minutes the fight, but it's nice to see him win, because he lost to Da Un Jung. Hope I say that name correctly, and he had a no contest overturn against John Allen. But he had the flavor of losing more recent than winning, and it's kind of that lingering. He knocked Jamal Jones out on the Contender Series by flying knee. It was magnificent, and I don't know what series it was, but it was a few years ago, maybe like 3 years ago, when the Contender Series was kind of starting coming out. He beat Adam Milstead. I'm not sure if that was before or after Devin Clark. I think it was after. I think he lost to Devin Clark. Devin Clark's kind of like, I'll show you what you got. Like, if you want to break into the top 15 kind of thing, Devin Clark's like the gatekeeper to the top 15 right now. He kind of seems to fight like Manyfield for him, and he taught Manyfield a lesson. Devin Clark's record, I think, is like 9 or 10-3, something like that. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. Maybe that's... Yeah, ignore that, because I might get that wrong. Don't hold me by my word. But yeah, Mike Rodriguez, absolute raw power. He's just coming off a win. He's a lot younger. He's a lot fresher than Ed Herman. Ed Herman's 39 years old. He's been in the UFC, I believe, since 2006. It is a long, long time. He was meant to fight a few weeks back when his partner got tested for COVID, which was annoying. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Gerald Mershaw. I believe I heard that from Ariel on his ESPN show. So that fight falls off. He was really annoyed, so he went out and did his little rage. All good. All good with that. It's a really interesting fight with Ed because Ed's coming off 2 wins. And I never rate Ed as more than he is a journeyman. He's the definition of journeyman. He pulls a win or 2 together, then he loses a few. He hasn't fought nobodies either. So his last 2 wins are against Kardis Ibragimov and Patrick Cummings. One by unanimous decision, and he beat Patrick Cummings by TKO. Round 1 as well. Very, very good performance. But before that, he had lost to John Vellante, CB Dollaway, and Nikita Krylov. Now, Nikita Krylov he's a top 15, let's say, in the light heavyweight division. CB Dollaway, I believe, is now retired. That was in 2017. He kind of fought like once a year for a few years. Since Talas Laters maybe, which was like back in like UFC 160 something, where he got beaten by a unanimous decision. He kind of fought once a year. If you look back, it's probably like 2013, 14, and then it was like once in 15, once in 16, once in 17, once in 18, once in 19. So you can't really hold much by his wins. He's getting it every, he was 33 probably back then. Now he's 39, and he's had 6 fights since. Angela Hill fought 5 times in a fucking year. So, it's just that his body's slowing down. I think he's kind of too old now. I think he's on his way out. Maybe he wants one more knock. He's never ever going to compete for anything in the top. He's not going to be ranked. He is what he is, Ed Herman. He's a dog. He just gets in there and he swings. He's not. I just feel he's too slow. He's too measurable. He's indecisive with his decisions these days. His brain's telling him to do something. His body reacts, seconds later, not even milliseconds. It's seconds now. It kind of looks like that. Mike Brown looked fabulous in his round 1. He's got momentum. It's a few weeks later. He's still fresh. He's been in the same camp. I think Mike Rodriguez is going to absolutely flatline him and clean him out in the round as well. I think he's going to knock him out really fast. So I'm going with Mike Rodriguez in the second fight in the main. The next fight, I'm not trying to slate the fight, but I'm surprised it's on the main card when there's a couple fights on the prelim that should be on here, in my opinion. Now, it's Roxanne Modeferri versus Andrea Lee. Now, I like both ladies. Roxanne's been around for forever. Her record is disgustingly experienced, I think is the only way to say it. 24 wins and 18 losses, I believe. She got a win against Macy Barber, not last time out, but the time before, when Macy got hurt. You run that fight back, I would have Macy winning that 10 out of 10 times. 9.9 times due to a freak injury, which is what happened. Now, Roxanne Modeferri is coming off a decision loss to Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy is nothing amazing. She's, again, and no, I don't want to say average, but it gave her a 3-win streak now. Andrea Lee is coming off 2 losses in a row, but before that, she did have 7 wins in a row. Her also last losses are to Lauren Murphy as well and Joanne Calderwood, both by split decision. So you could argue that, they're close fights, which would have brought her up to a 9-fight win streak. I think Andrea Lee is going to bounce back from her 2 losses now, and she's going to smash Roxanne Modeferri. I don't know about a finish because in these divisions, women's finishing is so rare. It's not unheard of, but it's rare. And in that sense, I'm going to say Andrea Lee by decision. I do think she wins this fight. I think she takes it pretty easily. I think she outstrikes Modeferri. I think she out-grapples Modeferri. I think she out-ground games Modeferri. I think in the clinch, she's just going to press her. I think she's going to be more physically strong than Roxanne as well. I like Roxanne. She's her nickname, her the Happy Warrior. She is what she is. But I think KGB Lee is just gonna. I think she's gonna press the matter. I think she's gonna be the more aggressive. She's gonna be more decisive. She's more fighting for her life, for the UFC. She wants to put her name back in it because people know who she is. She's a good-looking lady. She's got marketability if she can get up there. Roxanne's kind of not had her time, but she has. I do think Angela is just going to storm through and win by decision, though. Next fight on the card, two people that I'm surprised it's the co-main. Not because they don't deserve it, but they don't deserve it. They are stud athletes. But one of them being matey boy now, Ottman. I'm looking at the name and I don't want to pronounce it, but I'm going to. Ottman Azaitar, the Moroccan man. He's 12-0. He has not lost. He's undefeated. And he wins a lot by knockout. He has one fight in the UFC against Daimul Bakhtayan. And round 1 KO. That was on the Khabib v Poirier card. He moves into 12-0 now. And he's fighting Khama Worthy. This is his second fight in the UFC. Khama Worthy has had a few fights in the UFC. And by a few, I mean two. One by round 1 left hook knockout against Devontae Smith. And the second by a finish against Luis Pena. Now, his record is not as glamorous. It's 15-6. But if you want to look back, all his losses were kind of at the start of his career. He went on a 5-fight win streak. Lost 2, including to Billy Quarentillo in Strikeoff 4. And then since then, he's 2 wins, 2 losses. And then he went on a 7-fight win streak, which he's on now, which is why he is co-main. And he has also got sincere knockout power. So does Ottman. This is going to be a stand-up war, in my opinion. I think the footwork of Ottman is a lot better. His head movement is fucking unreal. It's so good. His punching combinations are a lot more fluid, I would say, than Khama's. Not that he doesn't have it. I just think it's more fluid. It looks effortless to him. And his power just comes with being precise instead of forcing a shot, which I feel Khama Worthy does more. He tries the power shot. You can see him exerting his energy, whereas Ottman kind of just releases just technique in it, and the knockout comes kind of the way Adesanya would. You don't, was it hope and throw, you aim and fire. I think that's what he said. My hands are going nuts here. I really think Khama Worthy isn't out of his depth. No way he belongs here. But I think that we're going to have a real challenger soon in Ottman Azaitar. It's a good fight. It's a welterweight fight. So if we can get another welterweight contender, man, that division just gets ridiculous. You're kind of like swapping out Robbie Lawler for this guy almost. Like, he's going to break into this top 15 with this win because it's a co-main. He's going to be, if he calls out someone in the post-fight, if he calls out someone like a Robbie Lawler or whoever, top 15, I think it could be really good for him. Maybe a Rocco Martin, something like that. Someone who's got a little bit of name, people know who he is. I think it's going to be good. I'm going to go with a finish, and I'm going to go with Ottman to win in round 1. I think it's going to be a quick finish. I think he's just going to bring it, and they're going to go throw hands. I really do. And we come to the main event. Now, the main event's interesting because I'll tell you why it's interesting. Michelle Waterson versus Angela Hill. Michelle Waterson is coming off 2 losses in a row. One to Joanna Jędrzejczyk, which is no shame at all. And one to Carla Esparza, which was a split decision. I did have Carla Esparza winning it. I didn't think it should be split. Before that, she had beaten Karolina Kowalkiewicz, Felice Herrig, and Courtney Casey. Now, Courtney Casey and Felice Herrig, in my opinion, do not belong anywhere near the top 10. Karolina Kowalkiewicz has lost a step since she fought Jędrzejczyk. She has. Doesn't mean they're not good wins. She still had to fight these women and still had to beat them. Before that, though, she had lost to Tisha Torres and Rosie Namajunas. And then beating, obviously, Van Zandt and Angela Magnaia. So, Van Zandt, to me, is not a real fight. we've seen that now. Van Zandt does not bring it. The best person Van Zandt ever beat was it Beck Rollins. Like, Rose Namajunas is obviously a freak. She's so good with Trevor Whitman. So she lost to Rose by rear naked choke, no shame. Tisa Torres by unanimous decision. These are the fights Michelle needs to win. So she started doing it. She beat Courtney Casey by decision. She beat Felice Herrig by decision. She beat Karolina Kowalkiewicz by decision. She then lost by decision to Carla and Joanna. Now, the fact that she goes all the rounds shows her conditioning is on point, shows she's got tremendous strength not to be finished. Whereas Angela, we move on to Angela Hill. She's also a decision monster, as most women are. To be fair to them, they're it's really hard to finish someone when you maybe the women's game doesn't have the elite boxing skill, of a Clarissa Shields yet. Of Amanda Nunes is an anomaly. She's same as Zhong Wei Li. Wei Li, however way you say that name. Her last fight, where she fought 2019, these were Randa Marcos. She fought Randa Marcos and lost. Her record went to 8-6. She then fought Jodie Ezekiel. I can't pronounce that name very well. I'm really bad with the names. Jodie is Esquivel. I'm going to go with that. She won. Bounced back and won. That was March to April. That was 3.5 weeks later. She fought. That was on the Thompson and Pettis. Card was Randa Marcos. Jacare Hermansen. Card was Jodie. She comes back with a win, 9-6. She then fights in June, so 2 months later, against Yan Jianan. UFC 238. She lost by decision. 9-7 record now. She then fights in September, still 2019, against Ariane Camilossi, and she cuts her, and the TKO happens due to that. That was loud. And she happens due to that. Then skip ahead to January 2020 and Hannah Cyphers. Now she's on a roll. She cuts her open, elbow and punches. Beautiful. That was on the Blades v. Dos Santos card. Finishes Hannah Cyphers. That's 2 finishes in a row. Granted, one by Dr. Stoppage, but it's 2 finishes in a row. She then goes to February, the next month again. She's an animal against Loma Lukbunmi. Wins by decision. She then fights in May. So within 1 year, she has 6 fights, pretty much. 13 months. And she loses by split decision to Claudia Gadelha, who once fought, she's fought for the title twice against Jacek. She fell short both times, but she still is a proper contender, Gadelha. Angela Hill's record then builds to 12-8. It's an experienced 20-fight career now, due to having 6 fights in that time. She's got some notable names on her record. She's also fought a lot of names, but she doesn't get finished. That's the thing that you have to look at. The only finish, I believe, on a record is Randa Marcos, where she got armbarred. All the rest are decisions. I'm going to actually have a look at that quickly before I get quoted on that. Oh, no, and she got rear naked choked by Rose. That was when her record was 2-2. Bear in mind, she's been in the UFC since 2015, when her record was 2-1, coming off the Ultimate Fighter, right? 2-1. She's now got a 20-fight record, all in the UFC, pretty much. So Angela Hill is her record is complete UFC. So it's not glamorous, but she's a dog. You know she can fight. I really believe that her technique and her training over the last, if you've seen pictures of her, man, you know how incredible shape she's in right now. The fact that she's putting these runs together where she can just fight and fight and fight, win or loss, she's still fighting. It means she's not getting hurt. She's losing because she's probably getting outpointed. She's getting scorecarded. That's just on the night. Michelle Waterson is also a scorecard winner. Scorecard winner. You better believe this fight's going decision. This will go 5 rounds, in my opinion. Now, I haven't seen Angela Hill go 5 rounds. I've only seen her go 3 rounds. I've seen Michelle Waterson go 5 rounds against Joanna, and she did look good for her moments, but Joanna's Joanna, and she just, she storms through her. I'm going to say Michelle Waterson gets this done. I think her karate base and her point fighting, her in and out tapping, is really good for a decision win in the UFC, especially against someone that's not forgets to fire a shot with her fists, but can be hesitant to. She almost can't break in to that, like the proper top 10 rankings. Whereas Michelle's been there. She was one fight away from a title shot. You know, if she beat Joanna, she would have had that shot. She would have had it, and she could have been mum champ as she wants to be. I think her movement is sublime. I think her ground game is brilliant. She's very underrated on the ground. Her takedowns are really good. She uses more judoka kind of throws, where a lot of hip tosses, a lot of kesikatamis. Her armbar style when she goes for it is more like a jujikatami, more than a Brazilian jiu-jitsu styled armbar, where it's a setup and a pinch of the knees almost. It's more just like a crank on the hip. I think that Angela Hill's she's going to get frustrated by the speed and the movement of Michelle Waterson. And for that, I'm going to say Michelle Waterson by decision. I don't think anyone's getting finished. If someone gets finished, I can't see Michelle finishing Angela. I think she's too tough for it, which is why I'm saying decision. It's a good card. Now, there's a couple fights I would like to mention just on the prelims. We're not going to go through them, but Matt Schnell versus Tyson Nam is a fantastic card. Sajara Eubanks coming off 2 weeks ago fighting. She's fighting again against Julia Avila. Good on her. That's really awesome to see. Bobby Green versus Alan Patrick. Good to see Bobby Green back. I'm starting to really like Bobby Green lately. And what I think is going to be fight of the night against one of my favourite fighters, we've got Frank the Crank back. Frank Camacho's back. And he's fighting Brok Weaver, the guy that looks like a Native Indian. I'm English. I don't know the correct terminology. You know, Frank got, when I watched it live, I thought Frank got killed when he fought Jeff Neal, which was really sad for me to see because I love him. But since then, he's had a few fights against, Hein, Dariush, and James. He's done well. I think, obviously not against Dariush, but Brok Weaver is a scary individual, not just looks department, but his actual style. He marches forward really aggressively and he will eat a shot to give a shot. He's that style. He fought Roberts last time out, but he did beat Vargas. It was by disqualification, obviously, but it was okay. He got submitted by Roberts in his last meeting, which was in May or June. Let's have a look. May 30th. Yeah. So I do think Frank Camacho is going to come back. I love Frank the Crank. So I think that's going to be fight of the night. I think they're both going to march forward and both, Frank can take a beating, man, and so can Brok. So Chatatuska is going to have his work cut out for him, but they're both dogs and I really enjoy this card. I think it's going to be a good card. And yeah, let me know, guys, what you reckon is going to happen. Apologies for no co-host this week. A lot of people have been busy. I hope my monologue is okay. If you've made it this far or to the end, there will be timestamps in below. Don't worry about that. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen. Share your thoughts. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, please. That'd be absolutely fantastic. See more videos, see more MMA thoughts. That'd be great. I will be doing as well Norton MMA merchandise pretty soon, actually. I'm getting a t-shirt in just to show everyone what it's going to be. I'm also a big hat person, so I've got to have a hat in, not just Formula One hats, obviously, in an MMA show. So it's going to be good. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think is going to happen, and we'll see you for the next MMA show. Cheers, guys. Enjoy the fights.